What's up, guys? Today I'm doing just a review of one of my servers. It's the Dell PowerEdge sc1425. It's actually one of a different type of server than the rest of my servers that I have, and it's sort of different than the normal Dell PowerEdge line that you guys are familiar with. So to start, let's go ahead and just discuss this SC. That stands for Simple Computer. So it is just as it sounds. It's a simple computer. So this server is a lot different than the normal Dell PowerEdge servers. It's a very simple, watered down server, but it's a very, very nice machine to have. It has its ups and downs. It's sort of designed for a specific type of environment, and I'll go over the drawbacks of it and the goods and the bads about it. But it's a very nice server, and I love this server. I use it. This server I use for my iTunes server. It runs almost like 24/7 to store a lot of my media content and stuff. A lot of my smaller file media contents like pictures and, like I said, iTunes and stuff. Not anything like movies or anything because those take up too much space, but it's a really nice server to have. So let's just go ahead and discuss the front panel, and then we'll take a look at the back and the inside. So the front, there is a space here for an optical drive. I just have a blank, spacer in there right now. There's no optical drive. The power button, the mystery button that's on all Dell servers. I have no clue what it does. The hard drive indicator light, the ABCD diagnostic lights. So those will tell you if something's wrong with the server. They light up in a certain pattern. Normally they light up green, and they can light up orange or yellow if the server's has a problem, and a certain combination of them will tell you what the problem is. The indicator light, and then the indicator light button. That's so you can indicate the server in a rack. So if you have 20 or 40 of these things in a rack, and you want to know which one you're working on, when you go to the back of the rack, you just push this button and it'll change the light, on the back of the rack so you can identify this unit. Two USB 2.0 ports, so that's the front. There's not really much on the front. So compared to a normal Dell PowerEdge, where you're used to having the network indicator lights on the front and the VGA port, this is lacking a couple of those features because it's a simple computer model. So it's really just it's lacking a few things like that. But besides that, it's pretty standard on the front of the server. So we'll go ahead and take a peek at the back of the server. Okay, so we have the PSU. There's two fans, IEC connector for the power, the PS2 for mouse and keyboard. There's a serial port, a VGA on the back, two USB 2.0 ports, 2 gigabit Ethernet ports, the indicator light and the button, and then one PCI slot right there. So that's pretty much it for the back of the unit. Again, pretty simple. Notice there's no DRAC cards. There's not a DRAC Ethernet port, so it doesn't have any DRAC cards. So it's lacking that again because it's a simple computer model. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the inside of the server. And I'll just kind of discuss a few things about it. So first thing, it's a lot less stuff inside it than a normal server. It just kind of gets to there's a few fans, there's wires running everywhere. It's a lot less than what you would expect of a normal PowerEdge server. Now these servers don't have redundant power supplies. So again, the type of environment these are going to be running in are going to probably most likely be in an environment where there's a network service like technician always around, so that if something like a power supply fails or something, they would be able to replace it quickly. Whereas a Dell PowerEdge with redundant power supplies and everything, those can just be thrown, in the back of a business or whatever, and not be seen for long, long periods of time because they're very, very, very reliable, and they can be they go through a lot more. They're a lot more redundant. So it's got a single PSU, so that's one thing about the simple computer is it doesn't have dual, redundant PSUs. The RAM. So here's the RAM. It's got 6 DIMM slots. Only 4 of them are dual rank compatible. So these two have to have single rank memory to run. They will not run dual ranks. That's one thing you have to keep in mind. So single rank memory is, it's faster and it's better, but it's also more expensive, and you normally don't have it just laying around on hand um, in most cases. I think this is the North Bridge is what it appears to be, judging by its location next to the processors and stuff like that, but I'm not 100% sure. Normally it's never labeled, but that looks like the North Bridge to me. There's one PCI slot, and it is occupied in the server. I haven't ever really screwed with this, whatever it is. I think it's some type of a network card or something. It doesn't have anything on the back. There's no ports or anything, but I think it has something to do with the networking. It's just got one PCI slot, so that's another thing. Normally, Dell servers will have at least two PCI slots for the poweredge. So the simple computer model just has one PCI slot. That's it. Again, it's keeping it simple. There's only two hard drives, so it doesn't have, a lot of hard drives. They are SATA disks. So we have SATA disk 0, SATA disk 1. And in this case, I'm running two 750 gigabyte disks. They're in RAID 1, so it does have redundancy. You have the option to do RAID 1 or RAID 0, and it is hardware, not software RAID, so it is built in this server. It's actually built in the motherboard, I believe. So it does have a dedicated RAID controller. 4 fans right here, and 1 fan right here. These 4 fans are actually 8 fans. There's a fan here, so this is actually 8 fans. These are 4 groups of 2 fans. So 8 fans, 9, 10, and 11 on the PSU. So it's got a total of 11 fans. So it's got a lot of fans, but this is actually a very quiet server. In fact, it's the quietest server I have. That's another thing that's really nice about this, is it's a very, very, very quiet running server. I can barely tell it's running in my closet. So it's a very, efficient, quiet server. Also, it has an IED slot, IED port there for probably if you had the optical drive, the CD or DVD drive there, that would connect through the IED connector there. Of course, if I didn't already say this, obviously those are the 2 processors. They're Intel Xeons. These are, I think they're 2.8 gigahertz in this server. You can get whatever frequency you want. There's a wide range of frequencies you can get for this server, but I believe this particular model is 2.8. And I didn't tell you guys this, but this runs PC. Let me see if I can get that there. PC 3200R RAM. So it is, DDR2 PC 3200R, and these are all 2 gig sticks. So this is running 8 gigs in this case. And I mean, it's a nice little server. I mean, it does its job. It does really good. It doesn't have a lot of the knickknacks like normally in a lot of the Dell PowerEdges. You can pull the hard drives right out of the front of the server without having to take it out of the rack. In this case, the only way to access the hard drives is to actually open up the entire server itself. So I mean, you're losing things like that. Sorry about that, guys. But anyways, as I was saying, the hard drives don't come out of the front really easy, and just a lot of stuff like that. Another thing is the PSU is not easy to take out. Normally you can just slide them right out the back and replace them if you have to. This, you have to, actually use tools. You have to use hand tools. You have to unscrew it. So, it's not as easy to replace things. Still pretty easy, but, it's not just a hot swap, dash and go type of operation, You can't do things while it's still online. You're going to have to actually take the server out, take it offline, and, start working on it. So it's a lot different than the other one. So it's a little bit, you lose a few things like that. Just quick hot swap features for if you want to just, do quick changes or whatever. Another thing that I like about this server, like I said, it is really, really quiet. It runs incredibly quiet. You barely can tell it's running. And I'll show you guys that in a minute. We'll go ahead and turn it on. But another thing is the power consumption is very, very small. It's very little. It doesn't have all that extra stuff. It doesn't have to power DRAC cards, external RAID cards. It doesn't have to power 2 PSUs and keep them in standby. It's just a lot more efficient server, and it runs a lot less power normally while it's idling and while it's running, depending on what it's doing, of course, but it's usually a lot more of an efficient server. So it's a very basic, simple, efficient server. And I mean, it gets this stuff done. But like I said, there's a few things missing from it, like I've already discussed. But So I mean that's pretty much it for this, guys. That's a difference between this and a normal Dell PowerEdge. Just, you can tell there's the difference between the simple computer series. But so I'll go ahead and fire it up and show you guys how loud it is. Alright guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and power it up here, just to show you guys what it sounds like real quick. And just keep in mind that there is a 1750 running in my closet, Dell PowerEdge 1750. So it will contribute a little bit to the noise, but not that much. Not really going to affect it much. But so I'll go ahead and turn it on here. It will be loud, just like every server at first when the fans start speeding up, and it'll get quiet. And then we'll throw the cover on and show you just how loud it is. So let's go ahead and start it up. Just push the power button right here. All right. So this is what it sounds like normally when it's running. This is the normal operation sound level, so it's pretty quiet. It sounds a little bit louder because the cover's off, so I'll go ahead and take the cover here. Oh, by the way guys, I never showed you this, but just in case you guys are interested, here's the little diagram of it. I don't think I showed you guys this already, but you can go ahead and pause the video and take a peek at this if you wanted to see any of this. It shows you all the little jumpers and stuff, the settings for those, and just everything on the board, the location of it. So we'll go ahead and throw the cover on. So that's it. It's locked in there and everything. I haven't screwed it in, but that's not going to make a difference in the sound level. Pretty quiet on the front. Sucks all the air in from the front and pushes it out the back. Very, very quiet compared to any other PowerEdge server I've ever seen. This is by far the quietest server I have. Go ahead to the back here. Airflow is very smooth. It's not like some other PowerEdge servers where, you know, there's huge, oh, I guess it wasn't closed all the way. There it is. Where there's huge amounts of air coming out of these tiny little spaces. It's just forcing air out. It's got a little airflow, which is good. You know, it's not like forcing any air through here. So it's very quiet. Majority of the heat comes out right here because, remember, you have your CPUs up here and then your DIMMs right here, and that's right in front of the DIMM. So this is heat coming from CPU and DIMMs. So that's where a majority of the heat comes from. A little heat comes out here, mainly just a little bit of cool air, barely any airflow. A little bit of heat comes out here, not too much. Most of the heat comes out here, and of course PSU heat here. A little bit of heat comes out of there. So it's a very efficient server, and it's very, very quiet compared to any other server I've had. So I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. I may go ahead and just do a quick show you guys how it is when it boots up. Maybe I'll boot it up here and I'll hook it up to a monitor real quick and we'll show you guys what that looks like. Just the boot up speed of this server. Alright guys, so just for a quick boot up, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the projector here on my screen. So we'll go ahead and boot it up right now. And it'll find the VGA port here in just a second as soon as it puts out a signal. And it's actually a rather fast boot up compared to some of my other servers. So there we go, there's the BIOS starting up. See, we got the Dell PowerEdge sc1425. There's your boot options. It also has an F2 for the setup, but that's actually, I think, maybe out of the resolution on this or something, or for some reason it's cut off. I'm not exactly sure, but it doesn't look like it's fitting the screen exactly right. But you can see it's got the two 2.8 gigahertz processors. Okay, there's the RAID array, the RAID 1 array. It shows the size, it shows both drives, and they're both healthy. Okay, and it's just awaiting for us to enter into the RAID mode if we wanted to. So this is the OS. We're just going to go ahead and boot into Linux. That was the grub boot manager. And here we are booting into Linux. Ubuntu. This is a Linux Ubuntu server 12.04 that we are booting into. There it goes. And here we are. So that's the server command line. So that's the successful boot of the Dell PowerEdge 17, or sorry, the Dell PowerEdge sc1425, guys. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you guys did, give it a thumbs up. And if you guys have any more questions, comments, or anything you want to know about the server, just go ahead and leave a comment or shoot me an inbox, email, whatever you guys want to do, and I'll make a video or just reply to you guys. Alright? Hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, guys, have a good one.